I'm not even sure some of the young kids know how to drive.
Oh.
They just order Uber Eats and
I have that in my family, okay? It's very bad.
As a disclaimer, we're not two old grumpy white guys, okay? Don't take it the wrong way, right?
Right. We're two worried old white guys.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Northpoint of View. I'm here with Dr. Walter Kemmsies. Walter, how are you?
I am good, Mark. Really good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, I've got like three or four things that you and I've been talking about, and maybe we just start and see where we end up.
You mean like we usually do?
Well, yeah. Like, what's the difference, right?
Exactly.
Inflation Reduction Act, right, which is an oxymoron, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to pump $53 billion into the economy, and it's not going to have any inflationary pressure whatsoever, right?
Exactly.
The article last week that came out was talking about some of these companies literally trying to weigh the benefit of a $1, $2, $3 billion grant from the federal government, weighing the delays that the construction takes because of the requirements. Mm-hmm. A 4 to 5 year delay in construction. It just seems like a mismatch of funding, the appropriate programmatic approach, right? Here's the money, we're ready to go, but it's going to take you 10 years to build a plant. It seems to sort of be unbalanced in my mind. What are your thoughts?
Well, if you add the IIJA to that, the Infrastructure Investment for Jobs Act, that was passed about a year and a half before the IRA. So you combine these two things, and then for the hell of it, you add the CHIPS Act for another $50 billion. It's absolutely the largest investment in changing the American industrial structure ever. I used to hear this nonsense from management consultants. Oh yeah, this is Industrial Revolution 2.0. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's we're going to change the things that we build, and it's going to be different than before. Okay, give me examples. They never really could. And then you've got the World Economic Foundation, Federation, whatever they are, those guys in Switzerland, and they talk about 3.0. And it's like, you know what? Shut up. What the American government has done, bipartisan, so no picking on any party.
Right.
This is the Industrial Revolution 2.0.
Yeah.
So we're going to make different things in different ways than ever before. And we're going to make things in a way where we try not to, foul up the environment as much as we have in the past.
The question is, can we pull it off? I guess that was sort of the intent of the question. I was sort of walking in a circle there for a minute, but it's like we've got these programs, but right outside the gate, we got it shut down.
It's like California. Okay, all the trucks have to be electric vehicles, battery electric vehicles. I remember 2 years ago when it was a very hot summer, the ships were coming, and the ability to produce enough electricity to keep Los Angeles from blacking out was so compromised that the port told the ships not to do, cold ironing. Cold ironing is you plug into electricity at the port. You don't keep the engines on, so you don't keep putting smoke in the air. And so they had to do that, and that should have triggered alarm bells. One of the agencies in Southern California also required fishing boats to put on certain kinds of filters on their smokestacks, and they were defective, and some of them blew hot ashes into the air, landed in one of the forests nearby, and flash fire. So no, this is when you try to change too much with in such a short period of time. you can't do a good job on everything. I mean, you're the one who pointed that out to me when it comes to real estate development. You know, you can only do so much at a certain time over, you know, with a certain rhythm. Otherwise, it all gets messed up. And so it's the same thing with what's going on here with this, IRA and the IIJA. It's too much, too fast.
With no direction.
With no direction. Nobody's calculated what happens if we actually build everything that's to be built. And if we replaced all the internal combustion engine cars, or to the extent that the government wants, with EVs by 2025, 2026 or whatever, can we still operate the economy? And nobody has put thought into that.
Right.
So we don't know if we can make enough electricity. Or we're going to sit outside and we're going to have these little solar panels and we're going to connect them to lithium batteries, which will then feed into the electric system. You know, can you show me where this has worked in small scale first? So this is worrying, right? But the other problem too is nobody has tackled the U.S. Higher education system. And you know, some months ago, on one of our podcasts, I'd said to you that I felt that the student debt, for a lot of students, not every student, but for certain students, it should be forgiven. And the reason for it is they were, when they graduated from high school, they could go work at a car rental, counter. They were qualified to do that. Train them up a little bit, good. But instead they went to college. So they go to college and they take a whole bunch of wonderful social sciences classes. They graduate from college. Their skill sets qualifies them to do what? Well, they could stand behind the counter at one of the car rental agencies.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So why didn't they do that? Well, they borrowed money because the college education was going to give them a higher income so that they could pay off the debt. But obviously, for the vast majority of students, it seems, and prove me wrong on that, okay? Please do, because I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's the vast majority of students. They got this education and they can't use it to make enough money to pay off the debt that they got.
Yeah.
And so the university system has effectively stolen money and wealth from kids who went to their colleges. They weren't properly trained. They weren't set up to have a career. I mean, the point of going to college was to get educated so you could do things. And now you go to college simply to get a diploma that says, you know, I graduated from college.
In just about every society in the world, when you steal, you go to jail.
Yeah, but not the universities. But it's insidious the way they do it. So, what they should be doing is there has to be a set of classes, et cetera, that you have to take to make you marketable. So I'll give you an example. When I worked at an engineering firm, I hired economists to work for me. And the last 3 that I hired, I had to send to technology school. They had to go learn how to work with big data and things of that nature, because even though they went to fine universities, they got good economic degrees, they were great at reasoning like an economist, but if you gave them a database, like today's databases are so much bigger than what I used to have, they couldn't handle it. So we had to send them to IT school and learn some very basic things. My SQL was one of them. You know, it's the internal workings of the machine that you're using to manipulate big data, because Excel and other programs aren't made for that. And so if I hired a guy and he couldn't do that, I had to fire him because he was useless to me. The other stuff that he says he can do, I can do in a hell of a lot better. I've been doing it 40 years. So I had to pay for their education. So that money is money that I spent. It was effectively taken away from me by some university who trained somebody inappropriately and left them unable to either do the job they should be able to do, and in many cases unable to earn a salary to be able to pay off their debts.
Yeah, the jury's still out. You know, I've got 4 children, 2 of them have gone to traditional universities, 2 of them to vocational tech schools. I'll let you know in about 5 years, but the trend line is pretty good on the vocational training.
Exactly. It was a great,
Hands-on, go to work, and then the paradigm shift is to not just work in the company, but own the company.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. I mean, yeah, but that also applies to the college graduates in IT in a few places. But what you just said is exactly where I was going to go next. So college enrollment in the U.S. is declining, and everybody says, oh, it's the demographics. No, not because of the demographics. It's because what you're selling isn't worth it. It's kind of somebody trying to sell me an electric vehicle at $80,000.
Here we go. No. We couldn't get away from the EVs. You said that we weren't going to talk about EVs.
Oh. All right, I'll stop here. Just say that at $25,000, I might buy it. So if you cut the college tuition down to about, $50,000 for the whole 4 years, I think they'll have plenty of students.
Yeah.
But if they continue at the rates they have, no.
It's not a marketable product, and it's overpriced.
Exactly. And in Europe, the way the education system works is you go along everybody all together till you hit junior high. And at the beginning of junior high, they test you. And you might test college material, you might test not college material. That's what happened to Einstein in Switzerland. And then a few years later, he was tested not college material. Okay, he's a wild man. So a few years later, they retest you again, and they're like, oh, mistake here. We got to put this Einstein dude up in the college group. Not up, over to the college group. Switzerland and Europe has long recognized the critical importance of electricians, plumbers, etc., and maintaining standards. And we stopped doing that. I mean, I went to a college that was in Brazil. We started to high school in Brazil, American high school, but we didn't have shop. So my dad wanted me to have shop, so I spent many weekends with him fixing things in our apartment. How do you fix a toilet? How do you fix a sink? How do you fix an electric outlet? How do you replace a fuse box? It was an apartment, but it was an old apartment. Stuff kept breaking, and he used that to teach me, and we had to adjust things to fit, because new materials weren't the same size as the old materials, so we needed blocks of wood, etc. And I learned how to saw and cut and sand and do a lot of things just to keep the house really, really nice. And my dad was doing it to me because he wanted to make sure that I didn't go out in life unable to use a hammer and a nail.
It's absent at this point. I'm not even sure some of the young kids know how to drive. Oh. They just order Uber Eats and
That's, I have that in my family. Okay, it's very bad.
As a disclaimer, we're not two old grumpy white guys. Okay, don't take it the wrong way, right?
Right, we're too worried old white guys.
So what's the fix on the education? I mean, how do we reset that? Because it's a huge issue.
Yeah. So the problem is you've got this university faculty and the faculty senate, and big fights break out there. Nobody wants the budget changed the way it's allocated. There were some nice stories in the Wall Street Journal article about new university presidents who tried to fix it, saying we're going bankrupt, we've got to stop it. And the faculty saying, no, your data's wrong, we're not going bankrupt. Guys like, look, enrollment is falling. Okay, you want higher salaries. Our revenues are declining. Guess what happens to profits?
Yeah.
And at some point, we have to beg the state to take care of us. So to me, the correct answer is if it's a state-supported university, they need to have an outside board of directors.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and not like appointed by the governor because of popularity, but it's got to be for academic integrity. And I think that the private schools should have to pick from completely outside their realm. Why should a university like Harvard have the CEO of Walmart on the board of directors? That does no good. You need, people out there who hire folks who know what the job market demands are, who can then put together an agenda of training that the university faculty, have to instill. Whether they will or won't, that's a different story. But we can't have history departments with 16 professors and 30 students, and IT departments with 20 professors and 500 students trying to get in there. That is what's happening at the university. And so if you can't get into the classes that'll help you to really succeed, then sorry, you go vocad, you know? It's a great way to make a living. Plumbers, and look how much money they make. You ever hire a plumber, for a broken something or another? You get your bill, and it's like, I got to go float bonds in the...
Time for a reset.
Exactly. Anyways, so I've been on the soapbox too much. I'm sorry, Mark. But it is something that keeps me up at night a little bit,
And the long-term trend line of a failing education system is drastic, right? I mean, they're all kind of consequences that we could be looking at 10 years down the road, and none of which we really want to have to deal with.
Exactly. That surge of capital hitting the economy to build factories and of all kinds to, all of them more high technology oriented is going to require a labor force that the United States does not have. So it's not just that we don't have enough electricity for the EVs and stuff like that. We also don't have enough human capital. I don't think, and I hope I am so wrong, but it doesn't look good from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
So you're hedged. You got two in vocad, and I love that.
We'll have that as an annual update. How about that?
Absolutely.
Hey, Walter, thanks for everything.
All right, man. Good seeing you.
All right.
Take
Thanks.
care. Bye.
Thanks, guys.